The Oak Tree and Life's Greatest Lessons. It was a warm summer afternoon when young Daniel arrived at his grandfather's house in a quiet, picturesque town in Tennessee. The scent of fresh apple pie filled the air, blending with the earthy aroma of oak trees that lined the backyard. Daniel had always loved spending summers with his grandfather, Henry, a man of wisdom, patience, and kindness. As they sat on the wooden porch swing, sipping sweet iced tea, Daniel turned to his grandfather with a thoughtful expression. "Grandpa," he said, "when I grow up, I want to be successful. I want to have a good life. Can you tell me how to do that?" Henry, who had seen many seasons of life, didn't answer immediately. Instead, he smiled knowingly, his deep-set eyes reflecting both warmth and wisdom. After a moment, he stood up, patted Daniel on the shoulder, and said, "Come with me, son." They walked to his old pickup truck, and within minutes they arrived at a small family-owned nursery at the edge of town. The scent of fresh soil and blooming flowers filled the air, as Henry carefully picked out two young saplings, both sturdy but small, their leaves still delicate. Back home, Henry dug two holes, one in the backyard, where the sun shone brightly, and the other inside a large clay pot, which he placed by the front window in the living room. He planted one tree in the rich soil outside, and the other in the pot inside. As he wiped the sweat off his brow, he turned to Daniel. "Now, tell me, which one of these trees do you think will grow taller and stronger?" Daniel thought for a moment before answering. "The one inside, of course. It won't have to face storms, strong winds, or the hot sun. It will be safe, and it won't struggle." His grandfather only chuckled, nodding. "Well, we'll see." 4 summers came and went. Daniel, now 15, had grown taller, his voice deeper. Life had thrown him a few challenges, difficult classes, losing a close friend, and feeling unsure about his future. He longed for his grandfather's wisdom more than ever. When he arrived at Henry's house that summer, the old man greeted him with a warm hug. After a hearty Southern breakfast of biscuits, gravy, and scrambled eggs, Henry said, "Daniel, come with me. There's something I want to show you." They walked to the living room first, where the potted tree stood. Though it had grown, it was still small, fragile. Its trunk was thin, its branches weak. Some of its leaves were pale, and its roots, confined to the pot, hadn't spread far. Then they stepped outside. There, in the backyard, stood the other tree, a towering oak, its trunk thick and strong, its branches stretching wide like open arms. The tree provided shade to the entire yard. Birds nested in its branches, and squirrels playfully darted up and down its bark. Daniel's eyes widened in awe. "Grandpa, this tree is huge. How did it grow so much bigger than the one inside?" Henry leaned against the porch railing, taking a deep breath before answering. "Son, the tree outside had to fight for its place in this world. It faced thunderstorms that bent its branches, but those storms also made its roots dig deeper. It endured scorching heat. It stood against strong winds, forcing it to grow sturdier. Every hardship made it stronger. The tree inside, though safe, never had to struggle. Because of that, it remained weak." Daniel stood in silence, taking in his grandfather's words. Henry continued, his voice filled with the gentle authority of someone who had lived through wars, economic hardships, and personal losses. "Daniel, life is like these two trees. If you always choose the easy path, the safe, comfortable one, you'll grow, but only so much. Without struggles, without challenges, you won't build strength. You won't reach your full potential. But if you face difficulties head-on, even when they seem unbearable, you'll grow into something unshakable. He placed a firm hand on Daniel's shoulder. The strongest people I've known in my lifetime weren't the ones who had everything handed to them. They were the ones who struggled, who fell and got back up, the ones who worked through hardships and didn't run from them. Daniel thought about the times he had been afraid of failing, the moments he wanted to quit, because something seemed too hard. He looked at the mighty oak tree, realizing for the first time that strength wasn't about avoiding hardship. It was about growing through it. "So, Grandpa," he said, smiling, "are you telling me I should stop wishing for an easy life?" Henry chuckled. "That's exactly what I'm saying. Don't pray for an easy life, son. Pray for the strength to handle a tough one. Because every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow. And just like that oak tree, if you embrace life's storms, one day you'll stand tall and unshakable." This story isn't just for the young. It speaks to all of us, especially those of us who have lived through decades of trials, triumphs, and change. If you're reading this and you've reached the golden years of life, take a moment to reflect. Think about the hardships you endured, the losses, the disappointments, the sleepless nights of worry. Now, look at yourself. You're still standing. You're still here. Like that mighty oak, you have weathered life's storms, and because of that, you are stronger than you once were. And if you ever find yourself wondering if the struggles were worth it, remember this: the tallest trees stand because of the winds they've faced. The deepest roots grow because they've been forced to seek nourishment in times of drought. Life isn't about avoiding struggles. It's about embracing them, knowing that every challenge is shaping you into something greater. So, to every grandparent, parent, and elder reading this, share this wisdom. Pass it down to your children, your grandchildren. Remind them that struggle is not the enemy. It is the very thing that makes us strong. And the next time you sit beneath the shade of a great oak tree, smile, because you'll know you've lived a life well-rooted.